Yes, yes. Chelsea do the business. Final day drama. Chelsea seal a spot back in the Champions League. We're back. Guess who's back again? Chelsea are back where we belong. Buzz up where we belong. We're back in the Champions League, amigos. Man. Well, speaking of welcome back to FFB, amigos. And today we're talking Nottingham Forest, Chelsea being back in the Champions League. What a hard-fought season. It's crazy. We waited to the last game, pretty much to the last minute, although 8 minutes, our other Premier League friends did us some favors. Man United gave us the score that we needed. Newcastle lost to Everton, giving us a little bit of a breather towards the end of the game, which I think even affected some of the subs that we made. We'll get into that. But oh, Lord, what suffering. And Chelsea don't deserve anything less than this, not in this season, but the brand. I think look into the eyes of the oblivion of Man United and see what can happen to a team with American ownership. Very poor decision-making at the board, but above all, losing the team DNA. I still think we're missing the team DNA in Chelsea, but winning is part of that. And that's going to have to happen next week to bring back that silverware. But let's get into this game. When the lineup came out, two things that I had to mention. One, Sancho in for Tyreek George based on the last game that we had, which is pretty wise. Tyreek is too green. And, of course, he's not coming in as a 9. Neto's going to take in that 9 position, which that's what happened. He starts as lone striker. And I'm happy to see Reece James at right back and Caicedo in midfield where they belong. Speaking about where we belong, where Chelsea belong in Champions League and players belong in their spots. And we were able to do that today. And the only thing that I had doubts is I firmly believe that when we have Caicedo and Lavia fit, both need to play in the team. And you're going to say that's going to sacrifice potentially Palmer or potentially Fernandes. Not true. Palmer could play on the right. But before we get into all that craziness, I'm just saying, today we saw the power of having it's not 2 DMs. This is where people are wrong. Caicedo and both Lavia can be deep-lying DMs, but they're box-to-box midfielders. They have the engine. They have the power. They have the recovery. They have the slides. They've got the tackle. They have the ability to, again, be press-resistant. And they look up very quick to find that pass to play out wide, or even in Caicedo's case, and I think we'll see with Lavia, but certainly Caicedo, he'll find a deep. If your 9 is between 2 defenders in space, he will find him. Now, we need a 9 to be doing those runs, but we've seen it in the past. He's done it, and we have it. That's the only thing that I had, but it was a strong lineup nonetheless. We haven't been doing lately very well since Christmas, so it was a little shaky. Forest. Look, to be honest, I'm really sad for them. What a campaign. And they were, at the very end, 1 goal, they were in, 1 goal, they would have Conference League, 2 goals, they would have Champions League. How close and how rough. How much pressure in that game. So being a young team with Chelsea, I think we dealt with that pressure. We hope we've grown. But in the first 10 minutes, given all this pressure, both teams were pretty shaky, if you ask me. There was no real danger from either side. Another mention. Now that I think about it, I was going to get into the defending from Chelsea, which I think we did a really good job with defending this match, is that Maresca selected Tosin Adebayor. Tosin into the center back, which is smart because Tosin is very tall, very good in the air, and boy, did we need that. The first 20 minutes, again, the first 10 was much of a threat, but then, including the first 10 up to the first 25 minutes, were they putting in crosses, bradas and cestas. They were putting in crosses left, right, mostly on the right, but putting in crosses. Cucurella clearing them, Caicedo clearing them, Sanchez coming out for a couple, and certainly Tosin clearing them. And there's something that's beyond the clearing of the headers themselves that you have to pay attention to. When you have a striker, a proper 9, old school, and a big old boy like Chris Wood on the other side, you sometimes need a center back that is going to have that fight. And that little pushing around, blocking his way, if Tosin is in your way of running up into being where you have to be to receive a cross or to get up in the air for it, it's going to be a lot harder. He's a bit of a unit as well. So he did very well in controlling the striker, especially Wood. And again, not just winning the header, but being in the right place, pushing, just having that tussle, that fight. And I think that proved really important. And again, I'm not a Varesca fan, but that was a good choice. And the 30th minute, there was a counter, which I thought it's always our bread and butter where we're going to do well, right? And Noni to Palmer, to Neto, who can't tap it in. It was a difficult ball. If you remember this one, guys, there's a cross that comes in. Like I said, there's a recovery. Nani, Palmer plays it in, but he plays it a little bit too aggressively at a weird height. It was like too low to do a driven shot. It was too high not high enough to head it. Very powerful, curving in, difficult ball. You wouldn't expect somebody who's not an elite 9 to be able to do something with that, and obviously Neto can't. But a few minutes later, we get very, very lucky because Chris Wood gets the baby version of that, a far easier cross. Sanchez, we're not going to trash him today. We're past that because we're getting a new keeper for sure. Please, God help us. A ball comes in, and he goes out for sandwiches and certainly leaves the ball to Chris Wood, who very similarly, has to put up the difficulty level. The other one was difficulty level 8. This one's like a 4-3. And certainly he had just the keeper in front of him. He goes over the bar. That was just nuts. That would have been a completely different game. That was at the end of the first half. Can you guys imagine what that half would have been like if we had gone under 1-0? And, when this game started, I always felt like Chelsea needed that early goal because that would have forced Forest to come out and look for something in the game earlier. And I'm surprised. Chelsea surprised me this game because we kept a clean sheet and we defended what we had to defend. We really had to defend. I think we could have done better at times, but we certainly had to defend, and we defended that well. We kept a clean sheet. And I didn't trust that we can necessarily do that. And we'll see later in the game how it progresses. Not only did we do that, player by player, but also tactically, and even the substitutions that were made, we saw out a game. We saw out the most important game of the season. And that's very impressive, even though, again, not a Maresca fan. So the first half ends. We're lucky we're not 1-0 down. All the results are not there for us. We still have everything to play. And early in the second half, boop, 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 goal. Thank God we get a goal. Cornwall scores a scrappy, shitty goal, to be honest. They do a poor job of trying to clear the ball. I even feel bad for the guy because he skims the ball. The Forest defender, manages to skim the ball with his head, which just softens it a little bit and leaves it to Neto, who, in behind the line, and is able to play in a goal that's coming in, interestingly. And all he has to do is tap it in, and we're up. And we are back where we belong, where the eagles fly on a mountain high in the Champions League. Again, no excuses, we're winning the Conference League. In any case, we score it. And then an interesting thing, Lavia comes in for Sancho, which Sancho wasn't having a good game. Now I think that was the right chance. And then I went into this whole spiel at the beginning. I don't want to go into it again, but I am a firm believer that Sancho and Caicedo can and should play together. And I think we saw that because when Nottingham Forest threw all the steak, because I'm trying to translate this saying for you guys. In Spanish, they say all the meat on the grill. They threw all the meat on the grill. Hudson-Odoi comes in, which that was a mistake. They should have played Hudson-Odoi far earlier in the game. That was a huge mistake, in my opinion. I'm surprised that didn't happen. But when they try to throw all the meat on the grill and just go balls to the wall, we put in our second monster press-resistant DM in there. And we managed to control a lot of the movement, at least not make it easy to force their way through the middle. They would have to try to come out wide and continue with crosses. We made it difficult for them. So that was a good switch, to be honest. And that meant that Palmer had to go play the false 9. To be honest, I didn't see much of him. I didn't see much of Fernandes, to be honest with you, either. It was a good match. Caicedo, as always, chef's kiss. Unnoticed by most people, but put in a shift. absolutely like always, and then Lavia the same. And even though Palmer didn't have the good match, he was running in the positions and all that. As a false nine, I didn't love him. I don't think he found his way, but we were in survival mode at that point. It was about possession, about staying, and we keep controlling the game, controlling the ball, which explains why minute 78 we get Gusto in for Neto. A little bit scary. There was a little shifting around the field, but we needed the legs. Neto wasn't all that great, to be honest, either. And Palmer was sitting in that false nine position anyway. And in minute 86, we bring in, I lost my thrill in Dewsbury Hall in for Madueke, which again, I think is a matter of legs. And at that point, you want to hold possession, especially Maresca. We know this. He wants to hold possession of the game. He wants to control the match, his players, and Dewsbury Hall is more likely to do that better than our friend Madueke, which at that point was probably a little bit out of legs too. And if you guys notice, he was running a little bit out of a gas, and he runs into players a lot, which is good. He exhausts them, he runs at his players, but that's not what we needed at that point. And then at that stage anyway, Man United had scored their second goal against Aston Villa. Newcastle was close to losing their game. So we were a little bit more comfortable. We could have drawn and taken a draw, and I think that's why going conservative made sense. It was okay, and we managed to see it out. So please like and subscribe because our Chelsea's back to where it belongs, to Champions League spaces, to Champions League spots. And this was my first year. First time. The main thing about this video, I want to thank all of you. I can't believe it. I have like 8,000 subscribers. I did not see that coming. And that's why right now I'm traveling. I happen to be in Argentina, but I brought my setup no matter what. I thought I was just going to make a couple of videos and that was it. But it's been so fun, and you guys have been so receptive. And now that when I'm traveling for work or whatever, I try to escape. It's really hard to be able to watch the games and make videos. And I think I only missed one game this year for you. And look, I had to watch Noah, Legia Warsaw. I don't even remember a couple of those teams. Serviette, the napkin. All that's over. We're back to Champions League. Jesus, I can watch normal teams. I can make reviews. I can do research of teams that I can actually find who they are and who the players are. So very excited about that. But again, just super grateful for you guys giving me all the support during this time. I'm excited to review far better games next season for you. So please subscribe so I can keep doing that. And like I said, even while I travel, I'll find my way to set up, and I'll make some cool videos during the summer. And since I'm here, I'm traveling. I'm in Argentina, so I'm gonna go to the stadiums. I'm gonna watch a couple of Copa Libertadores game and sort of make some connections. This is the birthplace of most of the elite football players. It's the current world champions, and the football culture here is amazing and it's great. So all you Argentinian brothers out there and sisters, what an amazing football culture that you have here. It's just really beautiful and very humbling and amazing to be here and watch that. And I will share that with the rest of you. So, again, just so grateful. I don't know. I don't want to get too crazy or celebrate because, it's kind of the place where we belong. We're supposed to be here, okay? But we're back to the standard. Let's not be buttholes about it. We're back. Let's be happy. Let's be grateful. Thank you to all the players. Moises Caicedo, I love you, brother. Te quiero. You're the best. And to the rest of the team. And so everybody, thank you for a great season. It was hard to watch at times, but we're there. We made it. And please, let's go for that cup silverware. We're not Tottenham. Tottenham picked up some silverware this year. And I don't care if it's a lesser one, but we're picking it up. Us Chelsea fans, we have the little collection so we can see whenever we visit Stamford Bridge, all the cups there. Whenever there's artwork, we want to see all the cups there as well. I think that really matters. We care. Fans care. We love winning. We're back. We're back to where we belong at the minimum standard for Champions League. We're excited. And now this cup that we're going to pick up, and next year we're going to grow and build on that. But above all, thank you, football fans that watch me, and certainly my Chelsea fans, as always. Come on, you Blues.